Hello and welcome. Today, I'm excited to share an episode from the 2018 series Electric Dreams, titled The Hood Maker. Spoiler alert, proceed with caution. Set in a near-future society ruled by an authoritarian regime known as the Free Union, this world faces tension between two groups, ordinary humans, and a minority with telepathic abilities, derogatively called teeps. These teeps, feared for their mental powers, face intense discrimination and are forced to live in ghettos as the public grows increasingly paranoid about their privacy. Tensions hit a new high when the government begins enlisting teeps into the police force, backed by an anti-immunity bill that allows them to invade normals' minds to gather intelligence. Fearing for their privacy, normals rally against the teeps, with protests escalating into violent clashes. Amid one of these turbulent marches, Honor, a young telepath, is on her first assignment with the police, tasked with exposing protesters' identities and plans. Unbeknownst to her, someone watches from a distance, capturing her every move with a camera, hinting at secrets yet to unfold. Honor sometimes unintentionally lingers in people's minds, creating a tickling sensation that alerts them to her presence. When the protesters realize they're being read, they turn on the cops guarding the area, and Detective Ross quickly spots a figure in the crowd wearing a strange hood and mask. Suddenly, the hooded stranger hurls a Molotov cocktail, igniting a fire, and Ross has to shove Honor aside to keep her out of harm's way. Ross then pursues the masked figure through town, finally cornering him and pulling off the hood to reveal a man named Rathbone, who is promptly arrested. Back at the police station, Honor is asked to stay for a special assignment, but waiting outside the office feels tense, as agents eye her with suspicion, despite strict rules forbidding her from reading them. Inside, Ross meets with Chief Oakisle, who refers to Honor as their new guinea pig and reminds Ross that the recent bill mandates using teeps in clearance investigations, making Honor his new partner. After the chaotic protest, Ross feels uneasy about the partnership, viewing Honor as a potential risk, yet he pointedly corrects Oakisle when she dehumanizes Honor by calling her an it. Oakisle insists that having Honor for interrogations is a valuable asset, leaving Ross with no choice but to comply. Reluctantly, Ross moves on to question Rathbone, a suspected anarchist from a cell opposing the teeps, who stubbornly refuses to reveal anything about his group or the purpose of the hood. Without delay, Ross brings in Honor, who uses her telepathic abilities to delve into Rathbone's memories and emotions, summoning the anger and loneliness that have haunted him since childhood. She taps into his longing for approval from his older brother, forcing him to relive the pain he's carried and his desperate need to feel worthy. As Honor delves deeper, she cruelly resurrects Rathbone's shameful thoughts about his own mother, quoting her words and breaking him down until he reveals memories of the rebels' hideout and the leaders who instructed him to wear the hood. Armed with this information, Honor, Ross, and a police team storm the hideout, arresting as many rebels as they can. While searching the premises, Honor senses there's more hidden, leading Ross to find another hood with an ominous note. This hood is sent to you with the compliments of the Hood Maker, and he hopes you will find it useful. Honor encounters a rebel wearing a hood, and as Ross prepares to shoot, she realizes in shock that the hood blocks her telepathy, preventing her from reading his mind. Meanwhile, in the Teep ghetto, Mary, a fellow telepath, works in an unusual body house where clients pay teeps to reveal their hidden fantasies. Her client for the night, politician Franklin, harbors such twisted, dark thoughts that Mary finds herself overwhelmed and haunted by the depth of his desires. After Franklin leaves, he discovers a box waiting in his car's back seat with a hood and a note, compliments of the Hood Maker. That night, Mary's nightmares ripple through the shared telepathic grapevine, disturbing the other teeps she lives with. When Honor tries to console her, Mary recoils, refusing comfort from a teep who sold out to the authorities. The next morning, Ross arrives to pick up Honor, further damaging her standing among her peers. His mere presence in the ghetto results in his car getting scratched as a warning for siding with the regime. Honor explains that her fellow teeps resent her because of her role with the authorities, but she disagrees with Ross's assumption that the ghetto breeds dissent, insisting that Teeps simply want normal lives. At the station, Ross shares the latest report from the lab. The hoods are crafted from waxed linen, dipped in an ionic liquid metal bath, which blocks the electrical signals Teeps rely on to read minds. This advanced technology hints that the hood maker has connections within the science division, suggesting a deeper, more sinister backing to the rebellion against Teeps. Ross instructs his detectives to dig into the science division, while Honor connects to the Teep grapevine, hoping to uncover gossip about waxed linen. Through this network, she learns the fabric's manufacturing process and identifies 8 outlets in the inner city that supply it. Meanwhile, a group of impoverished normals scavenging in an abandoned lot stumbles upon a box filled with hoods and a note reading, "Share with your friends, compliments of the hood maker." Without hesitation, they pass the hoods around, each person donning one, unknowingly spreading the hood maker's influence further. At the station, Honor opens up to Ross, admitting that being surrounded by the constant barrage of thoughts in the city makes it hard for her to stay sane, and she dreams of one day escaping. She also senses something different when she's around Ross, though she's unsure of what it is. Their conversation is abruptly cut short when Honor receives a vision through the grapevine, seeing Mary in distress and asking for help. Ross rushes her to the body house where they find Franklin, wearing a hood, holding Mary at gunpoint. Franklin, eager to play mind-reading games, tries to invade Mary's thoughts through the hood, causing her intense pain, which leads Mary to strike him in self-defense. Franklin's violence escalates as he believes his status as a politician will allow him to get away with his actions. But as Ross arrests him, he makes a pointed remark about how Franklin's visits to places like this will tarnish his political image, giving Ross enough leverage to keep him locked up for a while. Franklin dismisses Ross's concerns, scoffing at the idea of worrying about the hoods and instead warning him to focus on the Teeps, as they are on the brink of rebellion. He reveals that he's been working with clearance and has seen numerous requests from the science department cross his desk. Meanwhile, Honor, feeling the weight of his words, picks up one of the hoods and puts it on, unknowingly stepping deeper into the tangled web of intrigue. Honor is startled to find that the hood blocks the grapevine, bringing her an unprecedented sense of peace as for the first time in her life. Her mind is silent. Later, Ross reviews the information he gathered from Franklin, digging into the experiments ongoing in the science department. He discovers that the request for linen fabric came from a special department focused on Teep prevention, where they were exploiting child Teeps to their fullest potential in one lab, while another lab was dedicated to finding ways to stop them. Honor's focus sharpens on Dr. Cutter, a former scientist who resigned from the division 13 years ago due to health reasons. Sensing there's more to his story than meets the eye, Honor confides in Ross, telling him it's a shame she couldn't read Dr. Cutter's mind, and again expresses how different he is from others, as being with him brings her peace and quiet. Meanwhile, in the ghetto, Franklin attempts to apologize to Mary for his previous actions. She pretends to accept, getting into his car, but unbeknownst to him, a group of Teeps follows her, ready to collectively exact revenge on him. Soon, the streets erupt in chaos as a riot breaks out, sparked by the ambush on Franklin, leaving him with the cognitive abilities of a 4-year-old when the police arrive to restore order. As Ross prepares to arrest everyone at the body house, he informs Honor that he can't stop the chaos if they target her. Meanwhile, Honor continues to receive urgent messages from Mary through the grapevine, warning that the rising has begun and Teeps must fight back. Overwhelmed and frightened, Honor confesses to Ross that she has nowhere to hide, so he takes her to his apartment for safety. Once there, Ross expresses his concerns about the city's potential for explosion, but Honor reveals that this is exactly what the normals want. In a quiet moment of vulnerability, Ross offers Honor permission to read him, but she refuses, explaining that she had already been reading her mother's feelings from the moment she was in the womb. Honor reveals to Ross that her parents have always hated her for her telepathic abilities, forcing her to live with their disdain in her head, as Teeps often scare people away. She doesn't want to do that to Ross, but he reassures her by sharing a childhood memory of his dad, who had always been open and honest with him. Moved by the connection, Ross kisses Honor, and they end up spending the night together. Later, as Ross naps, Honor can't resist peeking into his mind, discovering a heartwarming memory of him fishing with his dad. While reflecting on this, Honor browses through some books and suddenly makes an important realization. Honor realizes that if all the textile factories were dead ends, then Dr. Cutter must have gotten the linen from a different supplier, and she connects the fabric to one more product, book binding. She recalls a book depository that closed 13 years ago, which can't be a coincidence. Ross leaves to investigate, urging Honor to stay hidden for her safety, but she refuses to listen. Determined to follow him, Honor trails Ross while continuing to receive urgent messages from other Teeps who are hunting the Hood Maker, planning to kill him. When Ross arrives at the abandoned book depository, he discovers the lab where the hoods are being made and is shocked to find pictures of him and Honor, realizing that it was Cutter who had been taking photos during the riot. Cutter then reveals that he's been watching Ross because, just as Teeps evolved telepathic abilities, he believes nature's balance should allow humans to develop immunity to those powers. Ross, he insists, is special, which is why O'Kyle views him as a weapon. But Cutter's explanation is abruptly cut off as he puts on a hood, sensing he's being read. At that moment, Honor steps forward, revealing she had heard everything. Honor demands to know what it means for Ross to be a weapon, and Cutter challenges her to read his mind. To her shock, Honor discovers that Ross has the rare ability to block Teeps, as she finds his fishing memory playing in a loop. Just as things take a darker turn, Mary and a group of Teeps arrive at the building after seeing Cutter through Honor's eyes. Ross, desperate to protect her, tries to reassure Honor, but she no longer trusts him and runs away to lock herself in a room. Meanwhile, the Teeps kill Cutter and set the building ablaze to destroy the hoods. Ross, determined to make things right, pursues Honor and, finding a small gap in the door, attempts to explain himself. Ross explains that the ability he never understood had been honed and controlled by others, and it was never his choice to block her. In an effort to prove his sincerity and regain her trust, Ross allows Honor to read him, despite her hesitation. After struggling through the persistent fishing memory, Honor finally manages to access the rest of Ross's thoughts. She discovers that O'Kyle had intentionally assigned her to Ross, not just as a partner, but to gain her trust and learn what the Teeps were plotting. However, as she digs deeper into the memory, she uncovers a moment where Ross refers to her as it, only for O'Kyle to correct him. In the present moment, a tearful Ross admits that what started as an assignment for him has long since turned into something much deeper. He's fallen for Honor, and now all he wants is to escape with her to the mountains, far from the chaos. But Honor is torn. She's no longer sure if she can trust him after everything that's happened. Standing at the door, she faces a heart-wrenching decision. Should she let him in, or leave him out in the fire, which mirrors the flames now ravaging the city around them?